Hello and welcome everyone to Quick Album Reviews. I'm the Window Pane CJ Metal, and today I want to share with you all one of my favorite albums of all times. I know that when it comes to Opeth, everyone has a favorite album by them. Some people like their earlier stuff, while others prefer their middle or later stuff. I personally prefer their early and middle stuff. Albums like Morning Rise, Black Water Park, Still Life, Ghost Reveries are just all fantastic. But if I had to pick my favorite Opeth album, it would definitely, hands down, be Damnation. Damnation was released in 2003, and it honestly had to be a huge risk for Opeth. They had established themselves, at least at this point, as a progressive death metal band. Now, how would fans react to a progressive rock album that just basically came out of nowhere? While I can't speak for the fan base at the time of the album's release, since I didn't know about Opeth at that time, I can say since then the album has done very well in the Opeth fan base and just with metalheads in general. Of course, there will always be those people who dislike it because it isn't progressive death metal, and I'm sure the guys of Opeth knew as well that when they released this album, there was going to be some backlash, because, like I said before, death metal to rock, that's a pretty big change. And anytime you change anything, people will either enjoy it or hate it. And for me, I personally enjoyed it, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people besides me also enjoyed it as well. But enough about backstory. What is the album actually like? Well, it's progressive rock, as I mentioned before, but it's not like Pink Floyd or Rush progressive rock. Perhaps the one word that could sum up this album would be haunting. The music on this album is cold and carries a darkness to it. Not a pitch black darkness or black metal darkness or anything like that, but rather a haunting darkness, if that makes sense. It's like a ghost is haunting your house, kind of haunting feeling, vibes, whatever you want to call it. Being that this album obviously isn't death metal, instead it's rock, it isn't very heavy. It's either acoustic or clean guitar accompanied by bass guitar, drums, and synth. This album is also sung entirely all in clean vocals, not a single growl from Michael. If you haven't heard Michael's clean vocals, I suggest listening to him. He has a very smooth voice, and it's kind of weird when you hear him growl because his growls are really nasty. So I don't know. Side note, I always find it kind of funny hearing how good a singer, like, some of these death metal vocalists are. It always just like, holy shit, like, his growls are like super nasty, but dude, he could put you to sleep with his cleans. I always just find it so fucking funny. But anyways, back to Michael. He really does a great job on here with his voice, and the lyrics he wrote are just fantastic, and it just honestly just all goes together like puzzle pieces. While I do say this album is haunting, I don't necessarily mean it as in it's a atmospheric type of album. While I do believe the band was going for a haunting vibe, it is very subtle and not smothered in an atmospheric shroud. It all really comes down to the composition and the way the music flows, and I think that's what really caught my attention. Everything you hear flows perfectly into the next part. The album starts haunting and stays that way from the first track all the way to the beginning. It's truly a masterpiece of Opus work and also progressive rock in general. That is why I'm going to say this album is perfect. If you haven't heard of Opeth, I suggest you go listen to them right now. If you've heard of Opeth and you haven't heard their album Damnation, I highly encourage you to go check it out because it is just a fantastic piece of music. And yeah, that's all I got for today. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and make sure to tell a friend to do the same, and I will see you all at the next review.